Hello, everyone. This is Nicole with Soul Garden Podcast, presented to you by Soulflwr Llc. This is the Other Sheep series, episode 8. Welcome back to our podcast, our conversation, where we talk about spirituality and other things that we are led to talk about. Let's go right on into our disclaimers. This is not a formal podcast. It's not religious, it's not spiritual. The featured subjects are for learning and unlearning purposes only, and for the opportunity for personal growth. We at Soulflwr Llc are not attempting to convert anyone. We are merely lifelong seekers, students on life, and educators. We are not total experts on these topics. Don't get it twisted. This is our sacred service. Please take what resonates with you and leave the rest. This is not a podcast for kids. If they're under the age of 18, parents adjust accordingly because we have done our part letting you know that this is only for people that are over 18. Lastly, we don't reach out to you for services outside this podcast. We don't have WhatsApp. We're not texting you. We're not sending you emails at this time. We don't own any rights to the background music. We don't own any rights to the concepts that we are talking about right now. We will discuss some things later on in the podcast that we do have rights to, but for right now, we're talking about things that are easily available to you on the internet. All right, that's over with. So now we're going to talk about um, mirror practice. In the prior episode, we spoke about another type of mirror practice. There's two type of mirror practices that we're familiar with. Could be other mirror practices. I'm unaware of that. I am. We are speaking on the ones that we are personally familiar with and that we personally practice. The first type of mirror practice was presented to us by Louise Hay. I think she brought it to us back in the 80s, and it is basically just looking in the mirror and stating different affirmations. Those affirmations are statements that we create for ourselves. They have some type of emotional charge. That means that there's some type of feeling, some type of truth that we resonate with behind it. And we speak those things in the mirror. And those help us to create the life that we want, because creation, we have learned, is by thought, by word, and by action in this particular reality that we're in. So that was a discussion that we had on the first mirror practice. But there is another mirror practice that we have, and that is, we'll talk about it in a minute, but let's do a review of the law of mirrors. Let me pull up what we talked about. If you just give me just a second, I would do that if I can. I hope everyone has been doing well. I had a pretty good holiday in the United States. We did just recently have a holiday, Thanksgiving holiday. I had some great time with family, and of course there were um, some challenges, but nothing that was out of the ordinary that could be handled. Let me look at the law of mirrors to see what we can review off of there. Give me just a second. But I hope your holiday, if you celebrate it, Thanksgiving went well. If not, I just hope that your days went well. You know? Let's see. Law of mirrors. In reviewing the law of mirrors, there is nothing wrong with the world. So stop trying to change it. That's what the law of mirrors state. The world is our mirror of the unconscious mind, which is always active and ever present. This is why the unconscious mind is our point of power. The world is an outer manifestation of our inner thoughts, world, and state of being. So what's going on the inside of us is what is manifesting on the outside of us. That is a very, very important concept when it comes to mirrors. We, as the observer of the outer world, can heal our inner world by accessing the power to create our outer inner worlds through what we desire. Okay. Let's see. Law of mirrors state that patterns do not lie. That's very important. When it comes to mirror healing, patterns are what we look for. We look for common denominators and we look for patterns every time. Put that in your pocket. There's something to remember as far as when you're doing mirror healing. When you're doing, you're working with your mirrors. Mirrors tell us what we believe about ourselves and how that's playing out in our environment. That's important for not only the concept, the Louise Hay concept, but the concept that we're going to talk about today as well. And it's very key. Mirrors tell us what we believe about ourselves and how that's playing out in our reality. I think that's all of the review. So moving forward, the second type of mirror healing that we're going to speak about, what we're speaking about today, is a concept we get from the Essenes. And someone that kind of, they did. They did an excellent job of talking about how this mirror concept that the Essenes created. This guy named Braden. It's the guy that's on the right of the screen now, with his hands like in a prayer-like position. That's Greg Braden. He is a goat when it comes to New Age thought. And he's the one that, in my personal experience, I discovered the second concept of mirror work with, which I think is it's the most profound because it's more multidimensional than the Louise Hay's concept. But we're gonna get into that. Before we do that, let's give you a little history about the Essenes. The Essenes is a Jewish mystic group that existed, and they were very interesting. They had different beliefs than the typical Jewish sect believe. For instance, let me just a second here. They believed in standing up for justice and righteousness. So they were more masculine in energy. Masculine means action oriented. Um, they separated themselves. They typically lived in the desert. I think they lived around it says around 167 BCE that they lived. They believed in the law of Moses, the Torah. and they believed in the books of the prophets. They observed the Sabbath. The Sabbath um, is a day of rest. Some people believe it's the sixth day of the week, which is, well, I mean, the seventh day of the week, which is Saturday. And some people believe that it's Sunday. Sunday is the Sabbath. Uh, just according to tradition, is opposed to fact. The seventh day is Saturday. However, traditionally, a lot of people recognize the seventh day is Sunday. The Essenes had a apocalyptic world view. That means that they believed that the Messiah was going to return, an actual Messiah instead of a consciousness was going to return. Some interesting facts about the Essenes is that they were not mentioned in the New Testament. Their names mean the Holy Ones. Their origin, we don't really know, apart from the fact that they come from Judaism. It's a mystic sect of Judaism. They did believe in purification very strongly, especially against corruption and outside influences. They were monastic, so that means they believed in one God, and they were very strict with that. They lived simple lives, and a lot of them were single. Um, they believed that most things were inherently evil as well, but they were interesting group of people. They are. If you want to look more up about these scenes, all you gotta do is Google it. All right, so let's talk about their mirror concept. It is like night and day to Louise Hayes. Louise Hayes believed in actually getting in the mirror and stating positive uh, things that you resonate with to yourself, or that you are intending to resonate with. This concept is different. This is based off of the belief system of the Essenes, where they believe that your inner reality is manifested in your outer reality. So what's going on the inside of you is what you see on the outside of you, and you can utilize what you observe on the outside of you to change your reality by changing your internal state of being. I hope that makes sense. So they believe that they believed in a mirror reality, a holographic reality where, like I said, internal, the external reflects the internal. So that's where they get the mirror concept from. The external reflecting, the reflecting factor of the external to the internal. And they believe that there were seven different ways of doing it. So that's where we get the seven Essene mirrors of the self. So I'm gonna do my best to go through these as quickly as possible. Um, I'm shooting at the hip because this is the only way that I know that I can get through these concepts. They're so intricate and they're so expensive that, I'm really taking huge concepts and discussing them briefly with you. Now, if you need help with these concepts after I present them to you, and by all means, contact us. www.soulflower.com. Set up a discovery call with us, and we will get you on the right track with these. Because I am very, very, very versed in these concepts. It's just that explaining them to you can be challenging because they're so intricate. But I'm going to try to break down the seven as best as I can and as quickly as I can. Um, let's see. Yeah, let's get started. So, the first mirror, and I'm going to try to give you examples. The first mirror is who we are in the moment. Just the mirror of the moment. That's what it's called. And it's, again, going back to the concept of our inner world. Our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. So, the way that this mirror will work, I can only give you the ways that I've worked with these mirrors. An example of how I've worked with mirror one is that I look for things that I am doing, that I am aware of or I'm not aware of, that other people that are in my environment are doing. So the closest mirror to us would be your mates, family, best friends, your inner circle. So uh, this is to utilize the first mirror. I look at the people that are closest to me. Now I have a mate, I have a wife, who is also the co-owner of Soulflwr Llc, Sean. So I look to her for mostly for my first mirror. And again, this is looking at patterns because mirrors are very big with patterns. You're looking at uh, different things that occur that are either attached, in some way, they're linked in some way, or they're the same thing. I'm trying to think of an example of something that Sean does right now that is a mirror for me. Give me a minute. Okay. So, Sean, a mirror that she is doing currently that is me, a mirror of the moment is I typically don't like repeating myself. So that tends to elicit an impatient response from me. That is most definitely something that a mirror of the moment. She does not like to repeat herself. Um, I have a little bit more leniency than she does, but the mirror doesn't. Just because it may be a little exaggerated or someone may do something a little bit more more than you do, like they indulge in it more than you do, does not mean that it's not a mirror for you. So, for instance, like my rose rage is completely different from my wife's rose rage, but it's still fucking road rage. So that's a mirror of the moment when that occurs. When when that's acting out in my reality. When I'm a witness to that, an observer of that, that's a mirror of the moment for me. So that's mirror one. Mirror two, mirror of that which we judge, which is another potent ass mirror. Because a lot of us believe that our world, the way that we think the world should run is the way it should run. And I think that's a good explanation of what the second mirror is about. It's about observing those things that we think should be a certain way, but they're not. Somebody else may do it differently. Um, or well, a lot of times with the second mirror, it's the judge mirror, the mirror that which we judge. A lot of times it's things that we don't do at all. We don't. That's not a part of who we are. I know in Greg Braden's version of this, and I advocate and suggest that you watch it. It's about 2 hours. I mean, it's some time. You're gonna have to put in some time, but it's well worth it because he can explain these mirrors better than I ever could. And he explains the second mirror so perfectly. He gave an example in his own life of how he it's like our pet peeve. Like he has a thing about having integrity. If you don't have integrity, you know that he's always gonna have integrity. You're not gonna catch him slipping with not having integrity. But he had instances in his life of people, places, and things that integrity wasn't present. So he had to do the mirror healing of that. Um, he called it that which we don't allow. So this mirror teaches us how to allow things that we necessarily don't do, or it might. I mean, it's just not us. You know what I'm saying? It might be somebody else's shit, but it's not our shit. We gotta allow that, even if it's without integrity. Even if it's without integrity, even if it's a bullshit. We think it's a bullshit. It might be, and that shit popping to somebody else, but um, that which we judge, that mirror teaches us how to let somebody else have a say about things. Let somebody else have an opinion, a way of life, a way of being outside of that which we think they should be, or how they should act, or how they should think. So that's mirror two. Mirror three. That which was lost, given away, or taken. This is a deep one, y'all. And the further you go up in the mirrors, the further you go into the mirrors, the deeper these motherfuckers get. So this mirror for me, how I dealt with this mirror, dealt with a lot with my past, my childhood, um, that which was lost. Glaring example for me is I used to be really proper. Speak really proper. I used to talk like the nerd I am, but I was made fun of so much when I was younger, around when I was 17, 18, that I stopped speaking proper. And I had to do the healing and the remembering of why I stopped being that way. And it's great because now I have the opportunity to have compassion for myself. And now I have the opportunity of healing. What's happening here? Give me just a second. Oh, okay, I'm still going. Yeah, my computer did something strange. But anyway, that's the third mirror. That which is lost, given away, or taken away. Like, there's things, that was something that was, I feel like it was taken from me. Or that I gave it away. Something that was lost for me was my gentleness. I grew up in a household where it was consistently violent. So I had to develop a harder persona. So that's another lost thing, my gentleness. Um, I think something that was taken from me was my childhood, my playfulness, my innocence. I think I gave that away um, by codependency and people pleasing. And that's in friendship dynamics. Yeah, those are the examples of the third mirror that which was lost, given away, taken away. But you got this mirror, like I said, it's got a lot of factors with it. Um, it can be polarized. By that I mean we could go from one end of the spectrum to the next. One extreme version of this mirror being like seriously fucking out of whack is a concept called limerence, and this is something that I've healed from, which is a part of the third mirror as well. It's a fairly new concept. I think it most definitely was new for me, of where you obsess over people that have traits that you've lost, given, or taken away. You that were lost, given, or taken away. And it developed into a type of obsession where you can't stop thinking about these motherfuckers, and it's a whole thing. There is a lady, I think her name is Crappy Childhood or something like that. She has a YouTube channel that's really good, and it talks about limerence. There's also a great book called Toxic Love Lovers or some shit like that. I had to get back with you on that one, but it was a book that I read that was really good, and it talked about limerence as well. Like I said, it's a fairly new concept for me. Um, it's a lady named Crappy Childhood. She can explain it better. Let me look up this book though. Let's see if I can find this book. I thought it was called Toxic Obsession, but it's not. I had to get back with you, but at any rate, it's a great book for this mirror. Is a great example of what can happen when you go to the extremes of this, of not seeing this mirror. But that this is a very transformational. This was very transformational for me. The first two really elicited compassion from me. This third mirror, it really brought some healing in my life. Um, I think this is the mirror where I would put the golden shadow, which we'll talk about the shadow concept later. Uh, but it's basically just seeing things in other people that we refuse to see in ourselves, and that a lot of times it's the good traits, the healthy traits. And sometimes it's bullshit, but usually it's the good traits. The fourth mirror is the mirror of the most forgotten love. That mirror is about things that we used to love, that life was lifing, and we don't do it because life was life, and it don't have anything to do with the fact that we don't love it. It's just that shit happened, and we just stopped doing that shit. For instance, um, I don't write as much poetry as I used to write because I've spent a lot of time doing healing and then a lot of healing and self discovery. So that was placed on the back burner. But a lot of times I read a lot of poetry and stuff online, and it triggers that mirror of the most forgotten love. So that's an example. There's an example of the fourth mirror. The fifth mirror is the mirror of the father and mother. These higher mirrors, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh mirror, they all deal with your what has been, making sense of what has been, with the intention of coming to terms with and really making a decision who we are in light of that information. But the fifth mirror is the mirror of the father and mother. Um, as you get higher in the mirrors, they get more subtle, and they also take more of a spiritual connotation. So, the fifth mirror you can still practice as far as personal development. If you want to work with this with your therapist, that's great. As far as well, I can see how you could torque all of them. But the fifth mirror, the mirror of the father and mother. In the the scene concept, they believe that the way that you viewed your mother and father was a direct reflection of how you um, view source or God or whatever you call the creator, if you believe in a creator. So they believe that those traits, whether they're negative or positive, we constantly and unconsciously assign them to the creator. And this mirror is about working through those things. This is a great mirror for people that believe in God but are mad at God. A lot of times you project those issues that you have on your parents onto the creator. So that's what the fifth mirror is about. Now, in my experience, and well, I'll say this: the people that these things, once they believe, once you practice these mirrors, if there is, like, say, you focused on one subject under these mirrors, once you heal that thing, once you heal that particular aspect, it kind of provides a domino effect to heal the other things that are attached to it. So that's the great thing about this tool is that not only does it heal that particular thing that you focus on, it actually expands out and provides more healing for you. So, okay, the sixth mirror, the mirror of your quest into darkness, or what we call the dark night of the soul. We're going to get into more explanation of that. But basically, this mirror is about you work with this mirror when shit hit the fan in your life and all the things that you normally depend on to keep you afloat ain't working. Um, I think this is an incredible mirror because in my experience, in my walk with this, it taught me really how to depend on myself. It really brought in a focus on the self and self reliance. So that's what the sixth mirror was about. The seventh mirror is a mirror of self perception. Self perception. My bad. All again, everything comes back to the self when it comes to personal and self development. Um, this mirror is about. I really believe. For me personally, it was about eliminating the self hatred that was in my life. It was about looking at all the beliefs that I came to the conclusion of based off of my environment and what and the validation of other people. This mirror is about ultimately self-validation and looking for ways to validate the self and becoming your star fucking player. That's what the mirror self perception is about. It's about healing how we think about ourselves and facing those beliefs that come up that have contributed to a negative core self belief. But let's go back. So that concludes mirror work. Um, Again, I'm bringing this to you because I love talking about this shit. Number one, and also number one is that if you're interested in this, because this is mirror healing is huge. It's a huge tool. It's something that I use every day, every day. Um, if it's something that you believe, did you feel drawn to at this time? By all means, look at it now. Braden is the GOAT on this. I did not do this concept any justice. Just go to YouTube, type in Greg Braden and the Essene mirrors, and it's 2 hours. There are different versions, but get to do the 2 hour version where he really goes into depth about what these mirrors are about. All seven of them. I mean, he has some breathing practices with him, so I wouldn't do it at a time where I couldn't pay attention. I would do it at a time where I could pay attention, and I would advise and suggest taking notes. But again, this mirror healing is all about what our life is reflecting and showing us, and it's about. I think it teaches us how to allow things opposed to creating them. And allowing is just as powerful of a function and manifestation as creation. We'll talk about that at a later time. Um, I just want to stress to you that this right here, this shit right here, is where it's at. Mirror work, this mirror healing, this alone can take you far, very very far, very very far. I do want to go back to mirror 4. Let's go back. Mirror 4, the most forgotten love, is also the mirror of the things that we're addicted to. I do need to mention that. This mirror teaches us how to look for patterns in our lives and look for the things that we are, how we're giving our energy or our power away little by little. And then we look up and we got a full blown ass dependency on something. Mirror 3, this I call it the soulmate mirror too. Um, this is a mirror that's good for people that's in relationships as well. Because just because you're in a relationship, that does not mean that you're not gonna be attracted to other motherfuckers. It just means that you're in a relationship and you promised that you was gonna forsake all them other motherfuckers. So mirror 3 teaches you how to not end up in a love affair while you're in a relationship if it's monogamous with someone else. Um, yeah. I'm looking at my notes here, y'all. The thing about mirror work is this: if you don't want to accept any correction, and by accepting correction, I mean constructive criticism. If you had an issue with constructive criticism, I'm not talking about people putting you down or just criticizing you because they got some shit going on with them. What I'm talking about is about a person, place, a thing that actually know what the fuck they're talking about, and you resisting that shit because you don't want to be told what to do or whatever type of resistance you got going on. That's what I'm talking about. It is wise to accept correction. A lot of the concepts that we'll be talking about in our shit in this podcast is about accepting correction. It's about how to self-correct. And then that way you ain't gotta worry about nobody telling you what the fuck to do. Because you already know what the fuck to do. And you're already doing it. You already got integrity. So that is what a lot of the self-discovery tools, in particular mirror work, can help with. But let's go on to our self-mastery report, our self-mastery energy report. Our self-mastery card is learning discipline. And learning discipline says, today I will surrender to discipline. I realize that sometimes it takes time to see the fruits of my labors. Yet, I still need to practice discipline. Help me to remember, God, that I'm moving forward and that I'm learning the very important art of discipline. That's absolutely for me because I'm telling you, sometimes I just rather lay down than do the shit that I need to do. Energy report. As you know, Mercury went into retrograde. So what that means in general, a lot of times people see their technology mess up, and it's typically communication issues. Like, you might text somebody and then go to somebody else. You might want to watch that shit in case you want those people to talk about people. You don't want to go to the person you're talking about because that is a very popular thing with Mercury retrograde. Technological issues, you might have mechanical issues, like some shit might go on with your car. I remember there was like a couple in a 2 year span. Every Mercury retrograde, I had a flat damn tire. So mechanical issues, usually you have issues with your appliance. You have issues with, again, communication, your computers, your computer devices might be fucking up. They do advise that you don't start any relationships, end any relationships, start any contracts, or end any contracts during Mercury retrograde because the only thing you do is waste your damn time. It's just gonna boomerang on back to you. So there's that. Continue to work on your self-discovery. Um, there's really not anything any different from the last energy report outside of Mercury going into retrograde. Mercury, let me look it up right quick. Let me see what the dates are. Mercury in retrograde from November 25th to December 15th. Oh, we don't have that long. So next week, we're in the eye of the storm. So not this coming up Sunday, but we're a week from this coming up Sunday, we'll officially be out of Mercury retrograde, but there's still the stationing. There's 2 weeks before the retrogrades, any planet, not just Mercury, and 2 weeks after where they station where you still feel the damn effects of it. We did have a new moon that passed. I think it was on the 2nd. New moons are about new beginnings, about setting your intention for what you want new in your life. So every new moon you can do that. And the full moon, let me see, will be full moon will be December 15th when Mercury officially goes out of retrograde Sunday at 4:02 a.m. So those are good times where you can journal and reflect on what you want to let go. So that is our self-mastery card and energy report. Again, if you need us, we're at www.soulflwrllc.com. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube. Soulflwr 444. I think for both of them. We do provide couple planning, marriage officiation. We do marry all types of couples. We do mastery learning, training, meditation instruction, and Dharma. Self-mastery and energy reports. We do accept the payments of PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. So get with us. We look forward to speaking with you. We look forward to having other discussions with you. This is fun. I like this new format too. I like this new format. The other one was a bit dull for me, so I think I'm gonna venture out. I still am going to add more platforms to this. Haven't had time because gotta work and pay bills. So there's that. This is the on the side gig. So we're gonna get the other things up. When we get them up, we'll let you know. We do got some other exciting ass developments coming, but you just stay tuned, stay with us. Um, I do post these on 8:30 on Sunday by 8:30 on Sundays. Here lately, I have not been able to do every Sunday, so I'm just going to change it to 8:30 on Sundays, whenever possible. I aspire to do every week, but it may not be every week. So there's that. I send y'all love, light, and unity. Until our next discussion. Like, if you have any comments, right now we're not accepting any comments, by the way. But if you want to comment, you can email us at soulflwrinc@gmail.com. Until then, love, light, and unity. Take care. Ta-ta.